All right, welcome to week one, the waiting list method. This is a special group birthed out of the Star Marketing Summit. It is January, what is it today? I never know the day. It is January 14th?
16.
16th.
Thank you. January 16th, 2019, 9 o'clock Eastern time. This is an 8-part series we're doing that is taking you all the way through everything you need to know to create product, sell your product, leverage the internet, social media marketing, structure your selling conversations, how to stay front of mind. So this is really like build your business 101. We call it the waiting list because the goal of this, as you get it rolling, is that you'll have a waiting list of clients wanting to work with you. You know, if you don't figure out how to get people to come to you, people that need your service and people that can afford it, you're always going to be the chasing list. You're going to be chasing lists. And what we want to do is reverse that and get people coming to you. So we're going to walk through part one. There's a little quote here from Dr. Stephen Kay, who created this. You're going to have everything you need to build a flourishing and thriving coaching practice, business to business practice, or business to customer practice. Again, 8 weeks. This is week one. Let's get into it. So when you see your packets every week, you're going to see review your Zoom video. I have embedded there some of Stephen's Zoom videos from other clients. Your videos are not going to be embedded there because I'm sending out your packets early. So I will send you a separate email, and also in the Facebook group, you'll get a link for today's recorded call after you get the packet. So we're going to go through 4 parts. We're going to do the teaching. We're going to go through the questionnaire, and then we're going to do the LinkedIn training live, and then you're going to update your LinkedIn profile. All right, raw review. Here we go. Niches lead to riches. So the whole premise of the waiting list method is you're going to decide who is your ideal client. And so as we go through these questions, if you have a question about your groups or you're struggling, because this is really so paramount, it's what so few coaches, consultants, and business providers do. I got on the phone this morning with a client who's using the waiting list, and he's getting clients in the insurance industry. And so he's using parts of what he learned through the waiting list. He's created a signature solution for insurance agents and salespeople. And it was interesting, just asking her these questions. I said, well, who is your niche? And she said, people. And I thought, okay, well, that's pretty vague. People need insurance, but within people, who do you specifically want to work with? And she really didn't know. And so we're working with her to do step one here. So if you were to list 3 groups you would serve, even if they made you pay to work with them, who would they be? And this can be, you know, who are you passionate about speaking to? I like to think of it this way. If you're riding with an Uber and you're kind of having a good conversation, where does it always end up? What do you like to talk about? What is your passion? What do you like to share your information about? What are the 3 groups that you're most excited to help, you're most drawn to? Now we're going to rate those on a scale of 1 to 10. So if I had 3 groups, and I'll just, what's interesting about this is as we're going through this, you're going to see my profile changing because I am what we call eating my own dog food. At K2DS, we have a saying, you should eat your own dog food, and it means to practice what you preach. And so I'm actually, from going through this, I'm going to change so 3 groups I would serve, even if they made me pay. 1, I would serve people who have anxiety or stress issues or depression. 2, I would talk about cars no matter what. It seems like David Susan can testify to this. We probably spent 3 hours talking about used cars, and I didn't feel like it was a drain on me. It was, you know, it was, I don't know, I would do it no matter what. I'm kind of a car nerd. I like cars. I seem to know a little bit about retail and things like that. And then my 3rd group would be something in the lines of ministry or religious work. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I want you to rate out of those 3 groups, how much access do you have? That means how easily can you get in front of them? How many times you interact with them throughout your week, throughout your month, throughout your year. And so as I go through that, I had, let's say coaches and consultants, automotive and ministry stuff. I probably have medium access, and I'm growing a lot of access in front of coaches and consultants. I have a lot of access in front of automotive just because of my history. And then with ministry, that was probably a tie. So I would put coaches and consultants a 5, automotive a 7, and ministry probably an 8. Of the groups listed above, and here's the one that really should drill down what your niche is. I get you're passionate, but if you're just passionate and you don't know how to make money at this, you're going to end up not serving anybody. So of the 3 groups you listed, which group has the greatest access to the financial resources necessary to hire you? And so for me, I went through that list. Well, coaches and consultants, unless I go for a high-end coaching practice, most of them don't have the resources right away, or they're less available, so it's like a 3. Number 2, automotive. They spend money like water on things that don't work. So they have a ton of resources. And then ministry, I've made that a 5. Some do, some don't. So who would you serve even if it were for free or you had to pay? How much access do you have? And then who has the most money? What breaks your heart? So any questions first on those first 3, if you want to chime in, ask a question on that, because if I do the math on that, I am going to shift from coaches and consultants to consulting in the automotive world, because I have, it's something I already know I'm passionate about. I like to talk about cars. 2, I have pretty good access to them. And 3, they have the most funds. So my goal is to make as much money in that niche in order to do more in the other 2. So even if I end up speaking at a high school about stress or anxiety or depression or low self-esteem, I can do it for free. I can give away 100 books for free because I'm making the money in my niche. If you have a question, again, just unmute yourself and chime in.
Hey, Dan.
Yep.
So I have a question for number 2 with the scale. What if, let's just say, what if even with the 3 groups you listed, that you're most passionate about, what if you have 0 access? Does that mean you can't pursue those groups? Like what?
Are you comfortable sharing your groups?
Sure.
Do it. What do you got?
Well, I have some access, but it's low. I put educators, executives, student leaders, and millennials.
Educators, executives, student leaders, and millennials?
Yes, sir.
I would say, let me ask you this, which one identifies themselves on LinkedIn is easiest to find? Like which one would you be able to search with a title search?
I'd probably say hands down, it's going to be between educators and executives.
Yeah, I would agree. So right there, those you can, even if you have the same low access to all of those, you have potential access, much easier access to those 2. So I would rate those higher.
Got it.
Now, if you're going in on Twitter, if you're going to adapt this for Snapchat, that might increase your access. But again, kids don't self-identify. Well, if you're using Snapchat, I hope you're a millennial.
Right.
If you're sending most of your messages through Snapchat, I'm going to bet you were born after, 1999. So, you can adapt it, but right now for what we're doing, I would say you got your answer there.
Got you. Thank you.
Cool. All right. Number 4. So if I'm looking at automotive managers, again, that's my niche. That's not my micro niche. What breaks my heart when I think about the group that has the highest score? So out of my 3 areas, ministry, automotive, and people who are stressed and depressed, if I just focus on automotive right now, what breaks my heart? And for me, really, it's the managers who get totally burned out, who mean to do well and lead their teams, but end up, burning themselves out. So I'm kind of combining passions right here. So even though I left the people who are stressed, I'm actually coming back to them because I'm in a niche that has the money to hire me. And then I'm figuring out, wow, Well, the same thing breaks my heart. People dealing with anxiety and stress over selling cars or servicing or managing their service department. And so right there, I'm going to start to drill down into my micro niche. What qualifies me to speak into this group's life and business? Well, I spent, a lot of years in automotive retail, and went from middle management to management, multiple franchises, multiple brands. What challenges have I had to overcome that this group might empathize with? Well, my mess to success story, I've said in pretty much every seminar I've ever given, was about 19 years ago. I hit a burnout, couldn't eat for a year and a half, and I was in automotive retail at that time. And there were a lot of other things going on, but I actually left the industry because I thought I was going to die if I stayed in it. I ended up coming back to it 6 years later, and my career went, I got in at lower middle management, got into upper management within 2 years, doubled my income several times. And so I have that mess to success story. So this is where you're going to, it feels like maybe on part 3, you kind of left your passion and went for the money, right? If we're being honest, we're like, I really wanted to help the people who are depressed, but they don't have the money to work with me. Well, guess what? If you get down in your niche, you can bring your passion back to it. Because the goal here is to get you making money on a predictable way, monthly, quarterly, without you having to wonder where it's come from. And then you can again, you create another product for someone in a niche that doesn't have the resources. So it feels like you left your passion, but now we come back to it. What qualifies you? What makes you unique in that? Okay. Number 7, what aspects of your success can be shared to help those in this group succeed? So for my example, it's learning personality styles. It's interpreting negative news differently. I wrote a book called 5 Keys, How to Go From Stress to Success. And I can adapt all those 5 keys to automotive very easily. What is this group's greatest challenge? And what I did for this one, my brother has been in automotive retail for about 25 years. He general manages 2 Lexus stores. And so I gave him a call. We were playing Fortnite, and over the headset, I said, hey man, if I were going to go to a general manager, because he's got the money, he's the decision maker, what's his button? What's his biggest challenge? And, for me, I'm thinking it's the way they communicate with their staff, leadership, all the broccoli things that we as seminar trainers and personal development coaches try to give people, which is true. But you know what he said? He said, Dan, most general managers were salespeople, and now they're running the whole store, and they know nothing about the backside of the store, the fixed operations stuff, the parts departments, the service departments. And so if you want to get in, you need to tell them you can handle that for them. You can fix that, because they really don't know what they're doing there. And then the goal is to give them the broccoli. Once I get in, start showing them how to lead without manipulation and bribes and threats, how to lower their team's stress. So niches lead to riches. So within that niche, what you want to do is decide who has the funds, why you are qualified to speak to them, what is their biggest challenge, and then what I would ask you to do is take it to the micro niche level. So in my world, I'm working with general managers of automotive retail dealerships. But what would be a micro niche level of that? Well, import general managers. Female general managers, Lexus general managers. I could pick a specific brand, a location, a gender, and then what that would take it down to the micro level. Now, if the key here is your solution needs to be something that is tied to their greatest challenge. So, Carmelo, if you're going to work with what do we end up with? Executives and educators?
Yep.
So what would be a micro niche level, and where could you go even further with educators?
Breaking it down by whether it's elementary, high school, college?
Yeah, that would start to get smaller. But where could we go even smaller? If someone else has an idea, chime in.
Um,
How could you get even smaller?
I guess by the subjects that they teach?
Yeah, I mean, you could do that.
Damn, this is hard.
How about
Can it
geographic
be by the
location?
Geographic locations are good. That's for sure.
Okay.
Someone else had something.
I was saying the same thing. Geographic locations.
What about inner city? What about
Charter.
Yeah. Start thinking about who has the biggest need, who has the biggest problems that you can solve, that also has access to the resources.
Got it.
Private schools, what are their challenges? Yeah, I would start to think even smaller. And then the key is when, Carmelo, your signature solution mirrors or matches their exact need. That's your micro niche. And for some of you guys, it's going to take a little bit of contemplation. It's not going to happen right away. For me, it took 7 years. No, I had to be all things to all people before I figured out, holy cow, I left the automotive industry 7 years ago, and it was right in front of me the whole time. And what's funny, we already, even though I haven't changed my LinkedIn profile, which we're going to go through next, I already started the process, and I got an invite for a Thursday morning talk. And I was begging them to let me do 20 minutes of their sales meeting. They're like, can you do the whole hour? I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much need there. All I did was say, hey, wouldn't it be cool if you didn't have to lead your Thursday morning sales meeting every week by yourself and come up with new motivational things? They're like, yes. Well, would it be okay if I came in and I recorded it and I did this? Oh my gosh, when can you do it? I was like, oh, when's the last time you had that kind of phone call where you first touch? This is the first touch I've ever had with this potential client. And they're like, could you do more? That's when you know you're in the right micro niche and you've hit on their greatest challenge. So any questions on niches lead to riches? I'm so tempted to say the B word after that, but I won't. Niches lead to riches. Cool. All right. Have a question? Just unmute. We'll go back. This says watch the LinkedIn training video. And this link does work. If you copy and paste the entire link, it will take you to a video, and it's a screenshot of LinkedIn. What we're going to do is do it live, and I'm going to walk you through what's important. So update your LinkedIn profile. The sales process starts the first time someone looks at your LinkedIn profile. What you need to get your header, your body, and your contact correct. Header, the shortest elevator pitch ever. So who wants to give me their elevator pitch, and we'll kind of judge it. And we're going to look at some LinkedIn profiles. I'll pull mine up in a minute, but let me hear what you think. What is an elevator pitch? What does that sound like?
I think we're all scared.
Oh, please. Just give it to me. What do you got? If you don't have nothing, let's figure it out.
Yeah, I don't have nothing.
All right. So what do you think of when you think of an elevator pitch? Or let's do this. Let's do this. Let's just pick on you guys for real. Let's just go to your LinkedIn pages. You think you could be quiet? And
That
Mine
sucks.
needs to be adjusted. Don't go there.
all right, Carmelo spoke up, so he's out. I'm not going to use him. I'm going to pick on somebody else.
I'm speaking up. Don't use me either.
All right, I'm going to go with Lisa Ann because your name is up there and you have a lovely profile picture. All right, Lisa Ann Landry. Arming individuals, families, entrepreneurs with amazingly affordable PPO, healthcare, dental, and vision plans.
That's good.
Why is it good?
Because it creates a question. How does she do it?
Yeah, exactly. So the challenge here is not doing that. Most people tell you how they do what they do instead of the benefits. So the only thing I like, she's got benefit language here, affordable, amazingly affordable. Lisa Ann, if you would chime in, did someone help you with this, or you just that? Well, you wrote a book on social media, so that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I followed my own directions.
Good for you. Yeah, I gotta tell you, I love it. Really, really
You do
good.
for real?
I
Okay.
do. Arming
Oh.
individuals, families. What is this stuff? This is her niche. What does she do with amazingly affordable PPO healthcare, dental, and vision plans? That's pretty darn good because you stayed away from the how. You just give them the benefit. If you go to mine, helping coaches generate more leads, land more clients, and earn more money. And then the only thing we recommend is a line and a vertical line and then your company there, if I can pick on it. But, you know, if you're a solopreneur, I like it. I would just leave it like that. Good stuff. All right, who else do we want to pick on? Who else do I see? Becky. You guys are never going to dial in again. All right. Now, this is, Becky, thank you so much for volunteering your profile by leaving it public.
That's fine.
This is typically what we're seeing, credentials. This is probably 80% of the profiles on LinkedIn. They're giving you their credentials right out of the top. What we're going to do is shift to the first thing they see after your name. I'm cool with all that. Is what is the benefit you bring to your clients? So I don't know, Becky, if you can unmute or whatever, we could give you some live coaching.
I think I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So
Okay.
what's the benefit you bring to your micro niche client?
That I'm trying to figure out what micro niche to work in, so that I sent you some of that today.
Yeah,
About whether I'm going to do my speaking stuff or whether. Yeah.
Just like getting the GPS True North, if you get it right, everything else is more fruitful.
So I think my micro niche is speaking to business owners who have 50 to 150 people, probably within 150 miles of York, Pennsylvania, and help them understand the risks associated with particularly payroll law.
So what you did there, you went niche, which is good, and then you gave us the how.
Okay.
But you didn't tell me what their benefit is. How about keeping them out of jail?
I like keeping them out of jail, but it's really assessing business risk or.
Why would you, so help me, why would I ever want to assess business risk? And give me the obvious answer.
Because when you understand what the business risk is, you can make decisions about if you're going to go to jail, if you're willing to risk going to jail, how much money you're willing to risk on going to jail.
So what we want to do is start shifting that language right to the money, right to the result.
Okay.
And not so much the how-to. We're going to get to the how-to. So for you, it would be something in the lines of, I help medium-sized companies save money through, what's the word, risk? I wouldn't say assessment, I would say mitigation.
Okay.
I don't even know if we need the through risk mitigation. We need the save them money, keep them out of arbitration or legislation. So again, we want to really, really focus on what is the result our niche client, because think about this. As we get going, you're going to have reached out to someone who's in your micro niche, and they're going to click your profile and boom, right there, it's screaming at them what they need right after they read your name. How cool is that? They're not ready for all the how-tos necessarily, but immediately you're firing neurons in their brain because they have a need. And we all know Abraham Maslow, when we have a need that's not met, nothing else can happen. And we're looking for a way to satisfy that need. So I'm going to share a client. Here's life insurance. Helping sales manager train teams, work more leads, increase customer retention and referrals. So a little bit on the how-to, but more on get more leads, increase customer retention. This dude has only 2,500 targeted connections, and he is getting somewhere in the range of 10 to 15 appointments a month. In fact, he just texted me an hour ago. He said another one for tomorrow. And so if you're able to close even like 25% of your appointments, I mean, what would 3 clients a month, 4 clients a month look like? That's what 2,500 connections, which I still tell him is too low. For him, I want him at 5,000. All right, where did my stat go? All right, profile body. Client facing, this is where we go a little bit deeper with whom do you serve? Why is it to their benefit that they know you? Whom do you serve and why is it to their benefit that they know you? And with this, I really would tell you, plagiarize it, mine. Not verbatim, but in content. Come on, internet. Let me close some of these. So once you get past the header, and the name, we go into the body. And this is where you're going to get into some of the nuts and bolts. You're going to get into why you're qualified to help them. If LinkedIn will work. What the heck? Let me stop share and start once in a while. Y'all see my LinkedIn page? Because I kind of swipe screens and sometimes I mess it up.
There you are.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep, we can see it.
All right. So now I would literally tell you to go in here, hit show more. I am passionate about helping you build, grow, and scale a flourishing and thriving coaching practice. My desire is to share proven, time-tested systems that guarantee to generate more qualified leads, land more ideal clients, and earn more money. So all this first paragraph is about who? Who's it really about?
The client?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit about how I do it, proven time-tested systems, qualified leads, more clients, more money, results. Then we go into, hey, I'm Dan Spicania, here's who I am. And then what do I have here? This is what you're selling. Whatever your signature solution, which we're going to create, what is it? How does it work? And then right there, you want to see the steps. So even for someone who's doing a B2C, and if you're doing insurance, right there, we're going to create like a tool, and we're going to give them even if it's 3 steps, match you up with the right product, shop it for the best price, whatever, you know, they want to, you want them to see that at this point. Anyone who's reading your bio and all that, they read it because this spoke to them. You hit on their niche, you hit on their need, and they're going down here to see what's up. You want to make sure you're just putting it right in front of them. Now, I'm not giving you the how-tos, but I'm giving you the what. The last part, make it easy for them to contact you. Some people put their phone number there, an email. I have an Acuity scheduling link, which I'm a big fan of that because I have multiple calendars going on, and anytime somebody schedules something in Acuity, it puts it on my G Suite, it puts it on my Google Calendar, it puts it on my Mac calendar, and it blocks it out. So I don't have to wonder what the heck's going on. Okay? The other thing you can do with Acuity, which is kind of slick, if you go to client scheduling page, there is you can have a booking button, you can name your link whatever you want, but there are settings in here where you can tell it to make you look busier than you are. So let's say you're going to take calls from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. and it knows that, and you're going to schedule your calls at 40-minute increments. You can actually go in here and tell it to make you look busier. So it will literally randomly block out sometimes so that you don't look like they're your first client. So there it is right there. Make me look busy. Automatically hide some available times, up to 50% of my times.
I love this. What's the investment in this thing?
What's that?
What's the investment in this?
You know what? It's small enough that I don't remember.
So it says for solo, it's free.
Is that what it
Emerging
is?
is $15.
There you go.
$15 a month. Yeah, but you got to read the details down here. But yeah,
Wow.
they have a pricing page.
So there you go. I'm using free right now. So I didn't even know that. Thanks for the question. I can tell you this. It was so low that I didn't remember. I just did it. I'm like, that's a no-brainer. So I like Acuity. I have it pushing everything, like I said, to all my other calendars. So, some people don't like that. Some people want an email. Some people want a phone number. I don't care. Just make it easy for them to contact you. All right. Where's my stack? Boy, I got all these screens.
Hey Dan, have you tested the difference between them scheduling and other options, other ways to contact you, just an email, things like that? Or do you find that that's more committing?
My thing is, I don't want to be difficult to work with. So I like super easy. I have a client who is an attorney and he doesn't do Acuity. He hates it. He goes, half the time they just email me anyway. I'm just going to use that. So he's booking about $5,000 a month in coaching clients without it.
Cool.
Yeah. So I haven't personally tested it. I've seen it work both ways. So it's kind of a personal preference thing. And I think it depends on what you're doing. If you're business to business or you're coaching, I really think that's what you want to think about. Who are you reaching? How do they like to, are they going to be people who want to speak to you right now? Or are they going to, be people who like to schedule things because they're on the road and traveling? All right.
Dan, and I've kind of came in a little late, but can you kind of do the same thing if you are wanting with this LinkedIn stuff, if you're wanting to book appointments, not for just coaching, but for speaking as well?
Absolutely. And you could even have a speaking calendar, see if Oren is available. And you can have days, open up for that. So yeah, I absolutely. So whether you're doing consulting or coaching, speaking, or if you're selling an online program. So the goal here then is we're going to create some free content, and then that content's going to be the last thing on your profile. So people immediately that are connecting with me are scrolling down, seeing all this, and then they're seeing these little guys. Boom. And these are one of the tools we use to get appointments. So they can watch this right from my LinkedIn page, and it's a webinar I recorded last year. So we're going to teach you how to do that. If you've never created a webinar, you never hosted one, we're going to go through all that. Some of you guys are going to be able to create a Udemy course or a Teachable course. You're going to have a product at the end of it. And these are just going to be basically commercials to your product. So it's just one of the ways we're going to use to reach out to people. Now, what I want to do is show you some automated ways to do it. So I'm on Google Chrome right now. And so once you know who your niche is and your micro niche, we're going to do a search for people. And then we're going to hit all filters. Now, we want to go second and possibly third connections. But what are we looking for? Are we looking for people in the United States? Are we looking for people in India, in Cleveland, in San Diego? If you're regional, you're going to want to put that in. Do you know what company they are? Do you know what industry they're in? So let's say if I'm looking to work with HR managers, I'm going to go human resources. I want only English speaking. I want the title director. And then I'm going to hit apply. And now I've got 4,760. Now, why this is important is these are second connections, which means George and I both know some people. So if I send a connection request to George, he immediately looks, he goes, oh, Dan and I roll in the same circles, except Denise and I have 85 shared connections. I'm probably going to get an accept there, and so on. So by going second connections or possibly third, we have all these. Now, some people just like to hit connect, 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 connect. We don't. We actually like to use a script. And at the end of your stack are some links to those scripts. And it'll basically say something to the effect of, hi, George, I'm always looking to connect with like-minded people. Accept my connection request. Something like that. Something polite where we ask permission to connect with them. If you are a Google Chrome user and you want to do this automatically, I have to sign in real quick. There is a robot that will do it for you daily and all night long, basically. And I want to show you how that works. So you have to be signed into Chrome. So anytime I do a search that populates a field, I may have to start my search over. All filters, second connections in the US, in HR, who speak English and have the title director. The minute I do a search that the robot can use, apply. You're going to see it pop up in the right corner. Oh, I got to move this. Yeah, it's not showing right here. There we go. Wake up, duck. I may have to use the other computer. All right. I may switch computers here because I usually run it on the other one. So I'm going to share the extension with you, and then we'll get into DUX SOUP, Duck Soup. What it will do is you can set it up and you can put a script in it, and it will send messages to all these people so that I don't have to sit there copy paste, or I don't have to sit there clicking connect, 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 connect. Let me close Chrome real quick and try from a fresh window, because right now it says I'm not signed in. That was Chrome, right? Yeah. All right. So what we do is I use Duck Soup for several things. First of all, I use it for connection requests. So this insurance agent that we're going to work with, she has 31 connections on LinkedIn. I was like, oh my gosh, like the money she's losing. 1,500 connections on LinkedIn that are targeted in your micro niche will result in about probably 4 to 10 appointments a month if you're using the system the way we teach it. So you can kind of do the math on your closing ratios as far as how many people you think you need to connect with based on, to get X number of clients. So there we go. The duck looks right now. So I'm going to do a quick search. If I can get, I have all this. Let's go, coach. I have all this webinar stuff blocking my screen, and I don't know if I can move it without. People. So there's only 2 million. There you go. So you see the Duck Soup at your service. that means it recognized the search. Now this search would be way too broad because I just put coach in. So I would, let's see if I can move this without messing it up. I would go to all filters and I would narrow that down second and third connections. They got to be English, and I only want to work with people in the US who are in the professional training and coaching industry with the title of owner. So I only want to talk to owners of coaching companies or consulting companies. That gets me down to 4822. So you can see how if you have the criteria for your micro niche, you're literally going to drill down to only people who are in your niche and only people who have a need for what you offer. So I hit apply there and the duck popped up. So now I go into this duck soup dude. And what I want to do is set it up for what I want it to do. Now, there's a big warning I gave out at the marketing summit. I give it out every time I teach duck soup. If you abuse this program, LinkedIn will send you one warning that they don't like robots. And if they pick up on it, they're going to warn you. If you ignore it and you keep abusing it, they will boot you off LinkedIn. So what we're going to do is make this thing act like a human. So here's an example of one of the scripts we have in your packet. Whenever you see this hello underline capital F, capital N, underline exclamation point, what that's going to do is put their first name in the text. So it'll say, hello, Oren, hello, Scott, hello, Sherry. I hope this message finds you well. And then you're going to have your script. Again, this one is a waiting list script. And I was only sending that to certain people. If I were doing connections, I wouldn't do that. I would do a connection script. And down here, where is it? Oh, skipping, sorry. Skipping. I skip, if I've run a program in the last 30 days, I will skip those people, or the last 14 days. If it's a similar campaign I'm running, I'm going to have it skip anybody. I don't want to be overbearing. So I might skip the last 3 months. I might skip the last 31 days. You can set that up however you want. But once you get it all set up, you get your script in there. You can send in mail the second and third degree connections. So this can ramp up your connections. It can run your campaigns. It can send out, sales reminders. It can do whatever you want it to do. Once we've got it set up, we're going to go back to LinkedIn, and then I would just click the duck, and I would hit visit profiles. And if I hit that, here, let me do a real one. Let's just do it. I'll just let it run for a minute. You're going to see it ask a question. Would you like Duck Soup to look for email addresses other than your first degree connections? I don't use it that way. I hit no, and then I hit OK. Now, if you watch it, it's going to skip a whole bunch of people because I probably contacted them in the last month. And then what it does, it pauses at times. And what that does, it acts like a human being. It stops, it kind of scans it. You can set it up so that it likes or endorses people on LinkedIn, which is really cool because that's what a human would do. And it can run in the background. Now I can have that running, and then I could still be over here and do email or do whatever I need to do. I just can't mess with this LinkedIn page. If I go to click on this page, it's going to stop me and say user interaction is disabled while the robot is active. Visiting Danny Glover, the actor. That can't be the actor, can it? He's getting too old. So
yeah, I have a question.
Yeah, so let me stop that because I really don't want to run that campaign right now. Go ahead.
Just out of curiosity, have you ever, when you've had this stuff running and you're looking at the connections, have you ever done international? Do you recommend can we do international?
Absolutely, yeah. Like I'm actually, we're going to turn it on for international next week. So like I said, my profile is going to change this week, and I've already got some automotive stuff set up. Well, guess what? Penske Automotive Group, which I used to work for, has 30 dealerships in Europe, maybe 50 now. So guess who's going to turn on Europe? If somebody works for Penske Automotive Group, and I'm going to go worldwide with that because I want to go to Italy. I want to go to the UK. I want to go to France. So absolutely. Just, you may want to, look at the language thing would be the only thing I would suggest, depending on who you're connected with.
Got it.
Hey,
Now-
Dan,
Yeah, go ahead.
this is David. That I saw that Danny Glover guy was an executive coach. Do you tend to, because that's most of the requests I'm getting right now are people that are in the same industry, they're coaches, they're trying to sell to me.
Right.
So when you're doing this, do you link with them or not? What's your thought on connecting with people like that are in the same industry you're in?
Well, think about it. If you can send a message to a second and third connection, and they've already built up their network with second and first connections that are all people they're trying to market to, why wouldn't you want to be connecting with their market?
Got it.
So if I'm an executive, I've been in the business 10 years, I have 5,000 first connections that are coaches. So if you friend me, all those 5,000 become second connections of David's. So then you can run a second connection campaign and send all those people a message. Say, hey, my name's David. Here's what I do. Have you ever struggled with this or that, or this, or, so absolutely. I'm going to give you a couple more like Jedi moves on this thing, but I want to see if there's any other questions about what we covered so far. So what I'm going to ask you to do is get 1,500 first connections that are targeted in your micro niche. 1,500. So whether you do it manually, whether you do the robot thing, you can get DuckSoup for free. It'll do a limited number of connections for free. The pay version that I do is $15 a month. So it's not a lot of money. I do both. We do manual ones. I also sub out to my son who is doing lead generation. I sub out a lot of the stuff. So if I want to ramp up a quick, 1,000 connections in a niche, I'll just tell him and he'll do it manually. He doesn't care. We let the robot run our campaigns because then we just leave that computer go by itself and it'll just keep going and going and going, and it acts like a human. So I haven't ever been warned by LinkedIn. I've never abused it. So I don't care how you do it, but right now you want to think, I need 1,500 people that are targeted. And then and after that, you should be adding people daily anyway. So I'm going to give you a couple quick ways to do that. Groups. So if we go to, oh, I got all this stuff blocking it. So you want to start joining, I don't know if I can, there we go. Let me shut off the duck. If you want to, there we go, groups. A really cool way to get in front of a lot of people is to join groups that are literally expressing the need that your solution provides. Coaching, if I search for coaching groups, International Coaching Network, coaching for emotional and social intelligence. Scotty, you were talking about millennials. You could search for that.
Yep.
But what you want to do is hit the big ones. Here, let me go to.
When you say big ones, as in the size of the group?
Yeah, so 200,000 members, 80,000 members. Now, groups are going to have different rules. Some are going to let you post, some are not. But here we go, groups. So I'm in 33 groups. Look at some of the names. Look at this one. Now, this isn't a massive one, but what's cool about this one right here? Who's in that group? People who want to grow their coaching business.
Yeah.
How about this one? Do I want to be in that group?
Yeah.
Would they be offended if I told them how to book a high-ticket client?
Nope.
No, and there's 30,000 people in that group. So this is kind of a cool way to get in front of a lot of people at once. So we got all kinds of different things. What you're going to see from me now is a lot of this stuff now. Automotive fixed operations managers. Boom. There's 24,000 people in that.
And when you're searching for groups, is there a way for you to narrow the search to only get groups that are, like you said, really big, like 100,000, 200,000?
Yeah, I don't know how that you can. I think you just search the different groups. What you really want to pay attention to is whether the groups allow you to post or not. You still want to be in the other groups because you can still get second and third connections, but I still like to be able to post content to the groups.
And how do you, so when you click on the group there on their page is where it would identify whether you're allowed to post or not, correct?
Yeah, they'll have rules on it. Some of them make you ask to join, right? So not all of them will let you join. Man, this thing. All right. So every group has different rules. My thing is join a lot of groups. Once you know your niche, once you know who you're going after, once you know what your solution is, get in those groups that it's appropriate. Don't get in groups that your solution wouldn't meet their need. That's just annoying. Don't shotgun blast, in groups that, that you really have no value to. The goal of this whole system is you're going to bring value to the marketplace that you're in. You're going to ask permission before you ever send someone a solicitation. They're going to give you a thumbs up. And then when you get a thumbs up, that person wants to hear about you. So, hey, I recently recorded a webinar that covers this and that. If you want it, give me a thumbs up. They give you a thumbs up. It creates a psychological positivity for them to receive your video. Your video then gives them value, and then it allows you to set an appointment with them or give them the opportunity. Again, we're going to adapt it for products, for business to business, whether you're doing speaking gigs. All of it's adaptable, but the process, however you use it, it's still going to work the same way. So one last thing I didn't mention on your profile. Get a good headshot photo here, and then your background photo, make it a picture of you doing what you're selling. Make it a picture of you doing what you're selling. So if you're a public speaker, make it a picture of you on stage. If you're a coach, make it you sitting down with somebody one-on-one. If you're a trainer, make it of you training. If you sell insurance, have something relative to that. And then the other thing, if you go into the links at the end of your homework stack, update these and make sure they have the logos. There's instructions on how to do that in the LinkedIn training. When you go to someone's profile and none of these have logos, it subconsciously discredits you. People may not even tell you, hey, I didn't like your profile, but things don't line up. You look like a professional over here, but an amateur over here. Don't have anything here without a logo. The way you get a logo is by making sure whatever company or school has a LinkedIn page, and then when you go into it, you connect it to that LinkedIn page or website, LinkedIn website. So all of these things are working together to make you the expert in your area, to connect with their pain and be congruent with everything else you're doing. You don't want to have one thing really well turned on and dialed in, but then there's other things that just don't line up and don't match up. Questions? I was going to see what message that is. That might be an appointment. Yeah, this is thing running slow. Any questions? Does anyone need help figuring out their micro niche?
Yes.
Who's that? Carmelo again?
Yeah. But let someone else go. It's okay.
Yes, I do need that, Dan. It's Jessica, by the way. I just joined.
All right, Jessica. So if
How are you?
Good. How are you? It's good to hear your voice.
Yeah, I just literally landed back in New Jersey from Orlando. So,
Man, my wife is on her way to Sarasota right now. There should be
oh,
landing.
it's actually kind of chilly out there. So I hope she took like a light sweater.
Yeah, chilly like 70.
No, chilly like in the 50s, believe it or not.
That's still 20 degrees higher than Cleveland. All right, let's walk it down. Let's what's your question?
I still don't know what my micro niche. I don't even know what my niche is yet. So we need to figure that out.
Let's do it. So I'm gonna put the questions back up. All right. Who would you work for free?
Possibly, I have a couple of family they have their own businesses, and probably them. I will work for them for free.
Okay.
So them, I guess.
Okay. You would work for your family. You would serve them. That's you want to work because I don't
Well,
know.
I don't want to work for free, but if it comes down to it, then yes, I would.
So
do
you
it for
just
free.
want, the Powerball, and you don't have to
Mhm.
work, but you want to go volunteer. Where are you going? Are you doing dishes at your mom's house?
No, no.
Okay.
No. So for example, I have a cousin who has an insurance company and needs some assistance in the HR world, because that's what it is. And so obviously I won't charge him what I would probably charge a regular client. So I would probably do something either low or do it for free, like a pro bono type thing.
All right. What other clientele would you be happy to serve, even if they weren't paying you?
I got to think about that. I don't know yet. Not sure.
Let me ask you this. What, here, jump to 4 or 5. What qualifications do you have?
What? I'm sorry, I didn't copy that question.
What qualifications do you have?
Oh, okay, well, gosh, you put me on the spot here. Hold on.
You put you on the spot. I'm getting you off the spot.
Right.
What's your
Let's see
background?
here,
What?
Let's see.
Yeah.
Well, no, my background is in HR, but most what I focus on is right now is in training and development. So I'm very at putting the classes together, like logistics and things like that, and also be able to connect with people in a level where they can find, what their strengths are and apply that to their team.
Okay. So HR, training, development, and you seem to like. Do you enjoy that part of it? Is like what part of it do you enjoy the most?
I like facilitating the most, being up in the class and just being able to just teach them and give them the tools and resources they need to be successful.
Okay. What challenges have you had to overcome to get where you are? Did you get hired because your uncle worked there?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Did you get hired because you had a family member working in the HR department?
No, nope. I got hired there because they believed in the skills that I possessed based on my resume and what I showcased in the interview.
Cool. So it sounds like you're good in front of people.
Yes.
Cool. All right. So what you want to do is kind of back into where your heart is moved, what area of success you could share. Did you have to overcome anything? Education, fear?
Well, yeah, I mean, I had to obtain my master's degree in human resource management. Also, I tend to sometimes not like have the most confidence in myself, but then when I'm in front of people, they don't see that. They say that I showcase a lot of confidence. So it's mostly just getting out of my head.
Cool. So now we want to back up to what you've got to do is figure out who has that challenge and just commit to narrowing it down. So would you say you feel empowered to help women in leadership or women in HR?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that would narrow it down a little bit. Would you say it would be in retail and customer service environments?
I've done that actually. I worked at Apple, so and that was one company that really helped me shape to what I am today, to be quite honest.
Okay.
So, you know.
So we have customer service, you know, HR, training and development. We have women. Do you have any access to one of those groups more than another?
I do.
Which one?
At work. I mean, I actually have access to a lot of women in leadership right now.
Okay. All right.
Because I work directly with my senior VP, who is a woman.
What is her biggest challenge?
I think her biggest challenge might be just to be readily available for everyone who needs her.
Okay. So I think what you need to do is pick an industry. So maybe if we go back, and this might be a way to help anybody who's struggling the same way. Easy way to do it is go into your search bar, hit people, and then hit all filters. And then start looking at industries, companies, and then titles. And if you can get industry, location, and title,
Okay.
now you've got something you can search and start connecting with.
Okay.
So I think you've got to, where you're a little bit wide is your industry. You know, if it's women, female executives or HR executives, you know, your solution may sound like I help, you know, female human resource executives build their confidence, influence their team, and create effective, you know, something like that. So you've got to kind of tie what you know how to do really well with their biggest pain point. And where those two meet, that's going to be your signature solution.
Got it.
And it's going to be the thing that only Jessica can provide because it's yours. You created it. And that's really what leads into next week is once you figure out who you're trying to reach, what their biggest problem is, you're then going to create a signature solution that you're the only one who has. You can deliver it, and they have to come to you for it. And then everything's going to revolve around that.
Okay.
All right?
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, other questions?
Dan, is there any other, I guess, you know, besides the questions, is there any other activities or things that we can do or resources that can really help us like narrow in on this micro niche?
Yeah, I mean, what we're doing is creating a brand. Sometimes it helps to watch the other coaches get trained, and you have a link to that. I can tell you this, Scotty, is pick a niche. Just pick something that you have. You're better off starting this now with a clear direction on something that maybe isn't your total passion versus not getting this right and going down the other steps.
Mm-hmm.
So like earlier I said, it took me 7 years to figure it out. I wasn't joking. And I don't want you to spend 7 years chasing all kinds of different money because you don't know what money you're going after.
Right.
So, for like Jessica, there's something in her story about, being a woman in this industry. She kept bringing up that she doesn't have confidence, but she portrays it.
Mhm.
There's a book called The Empress Has No Clothes.
Mhm.
And it's the first African-American female CEO of, I want to say Avon, one of those companies. And she
Mhm.
talked about how she grew up poor and she was a minority and a female. And when she was trying to lead these meetings, she felt naked. She felt like everyone could see that she was a poor little black girl who didn't have the family pedigree that they had. And the truth was, no one knew that but her. But because she didn't overcome that, it limited her career. And so she wrote a book about self-esteem. Jessica has some of that language from what she was saying. There's a story there.
Dan, what was the name of the book again? I'm sorry.
The Empress Has No Clothes.
Okay.
So you might look at her and say, you know what, this is her niche, and I can relate to this and this. And then you just have to pick an industry or a position. If you can go industry or position, you have enough information to start drilling down. So that's what I would focus on, Scotty, too. Industry and position.
Industry and position.
So can we do an example? Like industry for me would be traveling nurses.
Yeah.
And okay, so what's next? Is that the niche or the micro niche?
Traveling nurses is pretty small. That's good. So absolutely.
And
Yeah.
within 28 states that are healthy. That's another like major thing. Nurses are like so not healthy, but yeah.
Within 28 states that are healthy, what do you mean?
That live within 28 states. Like I'm only licensed in the product is only available in 28 states.
Yeah, so let me
but
show
traveling,
you. Yeah.
go ahead.
I'm going to show you, and this is in the training. So let's say I'm going to go Second Connections. I can add my locations, and I can add Ohio or New York. And so what you do is parenthesis, capital or, parenthesis, capital or, and you can keep going. And so the way I use that is when I do multiple titles, I'll put coach or business coach or, whoops, I did the or wrong. So I actually have it, I send it to my son and then we just copy and paste it so we don't have to type it out, because the one title search we did has like 6 titles in it. And that way it'll drill down and it'll do them all at once. So yeah,
And then,
nurses
and then those titles, they don't have to, like my niche is traveling nurses, life insurance agents, AFLAC agents. I can put all those titles in there.
Got it. So anything that they're going to put as a title, you would do that, separate it by or, and you can do them all at once. What I would recommend is to get a Word document and type them out and then have them ready to paste. Because when if you're going to use, whether you're doing manual or not, you're going to be pasting them in there at different times. You don't have to type it out every time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, and then for you, you could go to companies. You could find out what are the biggest hospitals in those states, and you could literally put those whoever the nurses are working for in as your search. And you connect with every nurse in the 28 states in the biggest hospitals. So that would definitely that's easily a niche that's small enough but still big for what you do.
Dan, I know we've been speaking a lot about businesses and so on. What about, for instance, I've got a book on forgiveness and stuff, but my real passion is ministry, reaching churches I want to see Christians get rid of their grave clothes, get out of religion, and get into
Yeah.
relationship. Speaking to, I mean, do pastors and these kind of people on LinkedIn? I'm really, forgiveness, releasing the past, releasing grave clothes, getting out of religion, understanding relationship with God versus religious mindset. These type of things, is LinkedIn a worthwhile avenue for this, or is it just
I'm going to put in
CEOs and
pastor.
businesses and so on?
So I just did a people search for pastors, and I'm doing second and third connections of me. So this isn't everybody on LinkedIn. This is just second and third connections. I have 385,000. So absolutely. In fact, Lauren, my goal is to leverage the automotive to a point where I have a couple more automotive partners rolling, and then I'm going to switch it to ministry at some point, hopefully the end of next year, and go after worship leaders and pastors that need help through different challenges that I've overcome.
Yeah, because I saw the whole passion aspect, but I mean, work for free. I mean, I could travel and just speak to churches in this area
Absolutely.
for free if money was not an issue. Obviously, I don't want to be raping the churches for money to get this, but on the other hand, this is a real passion for, it starts with a passion, obviously.
Yeah, and like I said, my goal with it is, there are churches that can afford it and churches that can't. I want to, to me, I want to leverage some of the money from the business world for ministry stuff. But I'm also, I was a worship leader for 18 years, so I'm okay with being paid for it too. But yeah, absolutely, that would be what you want to try and figure out is what are the criteria that would be smart for you to leverage. So, on the early onset, if you have to get paid, you may want to put in a minimum size church or a certain location or however you want to do it. But it'd be super, super easy. And when we start doing our invite scripts and webinars, that would be so easy to convert for that. In fact, once you're aware of this, you're going to go on Facebook and you're going to see people using these techniques on Facebook. We don't teach Facebook to start with because people don't self-identify on it. And you can spend a whole bunch of money on Facebook and you're just constantly in front of people who will never buy your product or service. Where LinkedIn, people identify, and that's so huge when you don't have a big advertising budget. I really need to know who I'm reaching out with and connecting to. So yeah, absolutely. I will end up converting this over for ministry at some point.
And that is, obviously my big problem is, being with, speaking in other areas and doing all this and coaching and stuff, but really drilling down to that micro niche and really the passion is the area. But if your passion is not something that's going to, obviously keep you floating, if you would, and leaving any of these semcos and stuff like that, that is my only worry. But obviously, God's in control. But that's where my passion is. I mean, that first question when you were talking about it, I kind of missed that because I was that's why my wife's birthday, so I should be spending time with her. But anyway.
So I want to give a couple more Jedi moves here. If you go into your network before you start using DuckSoup or even doing it manually, you're going to see pending invitations, and you're going to hit manage all, and then you want to go to sent. Now we just cleared mine out because I am shifting to automotive, but I've seen people have 3,000 pending connection requests. And if you do that, the robot's gonna, at some point, LinkedIn's gonna say, you already have too many invites out there, we're not letting you do anymore. They're not gonna get mad at you, they're just gonna block your connections. So what you wanna do is make sure you go in here. If you look on these are all, the robot was running today. These are all within a week. If you go to your last couple of pages, see, I don't have that many. We don't even have, so down here it would say you have 10 pages. Go until you start seeing these 6 months old, 2 months old, and then just select all. And it'll say like selecting 300 to 500 and then withdraw them. So that, you know, for some of you guys, if you've been doing a lot of stuff on LinkedIn, you may have some stale old requests out there. Those are going to block you up, and you want to get rid of those. Anything older than 30 days, get rid of it. Because if they're not on LinkedIn at least once in the last 30 days, you don't want them. Also on DuckSoup, it'll say if they don't have a picture, skip them. I recommend that. You'll get a little, you know, you can watch a training video for some of those details, but I did want to mention, this is something that trips people up. If your sent folder is jammed up with 3,000 invites, it's not going to work. You're not going to be able to make new connections.
Hey, Dan.
Yep.
Dan, do you accept all the invites you get too, or are you selective?
Usually I accept them, unless it's something I see that has nothing to do with anything I'm interested in. But even, I don't do it manually, so I'm usually the one growing my network, not them. But think about this, David. If they have a big network, you want access to the second and third connection. So Lisa Ann's selling insurance, right? So she gets a couple of invites from people with big networks. Well, she can now send messages to those second connections. How many of them need?
Got it.
So I would say yes. You can always unfriend someone or disconnect them, but why not leverage their big network, right?
Yep.
I literally had a guy who's spending a whole bunch on advertising and has grown a network. He literally approached me because he's like, hey, I see you on everything I'm posting. I'm like, yeah, I know. You have a huge audience and it's cool. So, you know, I kind of go to the extreme with it. So I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's been a situation where I turned down a connection request. There might have been, but I don't remember it. Because there's different rules about who you can send messages to. Sometimes you can only do certain things with second connections. So the more first connections you have that have big networks, the more second connections you have.
Hey Dan.
Yep.
So you had said that part of the homework this week, you want us to have at least 1,500 connections?
The sooner you get to 1,500, everything else is going to roll. So I don't expect everyone to be able to do that in a week. I mean, if you sent out, if you did, you're going to get about 40% of the connection requests in a week. So to get 1,500 first connections, you probably got to send out close to 3,500 requests. And broke that down, that would be, you know, around 750 a day. It's doable. I don't, you know.
So just out of curiosity, are there? Because I definitely want to do it, but I want to do it the fast way with the DuckSoup. So, are there any training videos, whether produced by you or someone else, that shows us how we can do that?
Yeah, DuckSoup. Once you install it's a Google Chrome extension. What I'm gonna say is do. This is weird. It's not letting me do my second and third connections. I think I got something on this computer. I don't normally run DuckSoup from this one, so let me go home here. There we go. Search people.
So Dan, when you want us to do this, just side note, are you wanting? We don't need all our webinars and all that set up for these connections, right?
Step one is get your bio and your homepage looking correct. So the sooner you get this done, you can still do connections. I would love for people's first look at you to be, it'd be tight and right. So for some of you guys, you need to redo this first because you're going to create a bad first impression if you don't. So step one is still get this thing looking right. I don't care if you don't have the webinars in there yet, but get your bio right, get your header right, get your logos. You know, if you own a company, create a LinkedIn web page and put your icon on the web page, your logo, and then connect it to this. So, for instance, mine said Dan Spicania LLC previously, but I don't have a Dan Spicania LLC LinkedIn webpage, and so there was no icon. It just has that. Let me see if I can find somebody with us. Oh, she has
The other thing I noticed, Dan, is that you have a premium LinkedIn account. Is that the better way to go versus having a free LinkedIn account?
Look at Sherry. She's got her stuff tight and right. I'm trying to find someone who I know has their own company as their name. So there you go. So when you don't have it, you're going to have that. And that's a no-no. You want that to have your icon. It's all those little things that, you know, make you the expert, give people a piece about working with you. So no, you don't need a LinkedIn Premium yet. If you get it to where your network's massive, they're going to tell you, hey, you're reaching the commercial limit. So at that point, you want to consider it. I think it's like $65 a month, but you don't need it for anything we're doing.
Got it.
You can certainly get paid without having a premium account. Any other questions? So Scotty, I want to see if I can get this one to work. All right. So search for people, all filters, second connection, put your titles you want to work with, whatever, hit apply. The duck will show up in the corner if it's working correctly. There it is right there. You see it?
Yep.
When it pops up, click the duck, go into options. Make sure everything's the way you want it. So if I'm doing connection requests, I'm going to shut off the personalized message. I'm going to turn on send a connection request to second and third degree connections during visits using standard LinkedIn or Sales Navigator. So if you have the paid LinkedIn, you can use Sales Navigator. For the rest of you guys, you're just going to use standard LinkedIn. Here's the script. Oh, it is in there. So Sammy put it, my son put it in there. So hello, underline, first name, underline, exclamation. So hello, Scott. I came across your profile today. I'd love to connect with you. I own a company that helps individuals achieve peak performance in business. I'm always looking to connect with great people like you. Thanks for your consideration, Dan. Turn that on. Go back to LinkedIn, click the duck, hit visit profiles, and the robot's gonna take off. Boom, there it goes. So now this is going to connect with all these 106,782 people. It's not gonna do them all in one day. It has a limit because it has to act like a human.
Right.
But it'll get you 30 or 40 a day easily. Maybe 50, maybe 75. It depends.
So how do you get Duck Soup? Do I just go into Chrome and look for add-ins or under settings and look for?
So if you Google Duck Soup Chrome, oh, I'm sorry. See, I'm not a Chrome user normally. There it is. So Google Chrome, you just add it under your Chrome extensions. I guess you could probably do it right from Chrome. I don't know where it would be.
Okay, I know.
So somewhere here are extensions, right? There we go. Preferences. Thing. What I did is Googled it, and then there it is. Add it to. It'll have a button right there. It's just a Chrome extension. And again, for some of you guys, even if you're not going to do the paid version, what would it hurt to do the free one? As long as you use it the way I taught you, have it go grab you, 20, 30 connections a day. The goal is I'd like you all at least 1,500 by the time, once your profile's right, you want to get to 1,500 as fast as you can. And then keep going up from there. But at 1,500, I've seen people get appointments and sales at 700 connections. I just want you to, in your mind, if you hear anything, get your profile looking right, get 1,500 targeted connections as fast as possible. So it takes you a month, it takes you a month. But I had someone stop and they started working on their signature solution, which is next week. They started creating their PowerPoint slides and their webinars, and they weren't getting connections night after night. And so they got 6 weeks in, and he's like, yeah, I ran my webinar. I didn't have anyone watch it, or I had 2 people watch. I'm like, well, how many connections do you have? You had like 350. I'm like, no, dude. Connections are like what we do now, okay? They're part of your life. If you want to run the robot all night, I get it. I do the same thing. But if you want to sit there with your phone and just tap them, I can tell you we've done campaigns on certain people where we'll just sit there with 2 iPhones and we won't even put the script in there. We'll just hit connect. And you know what? A third of them will connect with us. So we'll do, 2,000 one night, just sitting there with iPhones hitting connect. Again, we can still search using our iPhone. We're searching for the people we want to work with, and then we're just connecting with them. And then we use DuckSoup to run the campaign. So yeah, again, 2 ways to use it. One is for connection requests. The other one is to send a message, which we'll get to once we have your webinar and you're selling. We're going to use the message to run our sales campaigns and our permission marketing.
And just another clarification. You said that in order to get our profile tight and right, we can use the framework on your profile essentially, and make it our own.
Absolutely. So every paragraph, like think about who am I talking to? What is it saying? And then just make it for yours. And here, I'll show you. There. Here's I don't know. I don't know if Mac doesn't like Chrome or what. Okay. That's not who I'm thinking of. There we go. So Lori Autry, helping women leaders in tech increase diversity, overcome barrier strengths. And then you go down here and you hit more. What do you see? I am passionate about blah, 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 blah. My name is Lori Autry and I blah, 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 blah. And then what do we see here? Boom, her signature solution. And then schedule your breakthrough. So yeah, I don't care. Copy it, make it you, make it about you, but the format is what we're going for. I'm going to show you one more. What is his name? So this guy is not a client of mine. He does lead generation, connection, and appointments. So he does just the get you connections and market to them through what we're doing. He doesn't help you build your solution. He doesn't help you sell it. He charges $3,000 a month. But I want you to see, here's a guy who knows LinkedIn and knows how to make money on it for his clients. Derek K, strategic marketing. Want to grow your coaching or local service business quickly? We can do that with no ad spent and 100% guaranteed. He's in Nova Scotia. And then look at his bio. You'll see similarities in mine. How much is a new client worth for you if you generate this many leads? So it's almost like an ad, isn't it?
Yep.
And then there's his book a call now. Boom. So you're going to, and then what does he have? Not a webinar, but an article he wrote. So like Lisa Ann Landry, you could easily create an article about, saving money in insurance, and that could be at the bottom. You could create a PDF and we could work once you get your connections up. So I'm thinking of Lisa because she's selling a product. We can create a free PDF to do a health checkup or an insurance checkup on your rates. And what we do is campaign, send it to 3,000 people you're connected with. Say, hey, I created this PDF. If you want it, give me a thumbs up. They send you a thumbs up. You send them the PDF. At the bottom of the PDF is a link to call you for questions or an appointment. Done. You send that to 100 people, you're going to get 10 clients from it, 15 clients, maybe 20. So that's kind of the process that we're going to use. But once you know the science behind LinkedIn, you're going to see similarities in the people who are making money, and then you're going to look and see the people who don't know how to make money yet, because their profile is going to scream at you how bad it is. You can tell. Who was the dude at the marketing summit? What was his name?
Sean?
John Douglas. Thank you. Dude knows how to make money on LinkedIn, right? Let's see what similarities he has. I haven't looked at his profile. So he's got a little bit more credentials up there, but he's actually working that because he's more interested in keynotes than he is selling a product or service. Whole bunch of content down here. He could add an icon here. He doesn't have that. But let's look at his bio. Boom, there you go. And there's his. You're going to see the same kind of format for people who have money on it.
The content at the bottom, is that, are you putting that in there, or is that coming off of your LinkedIn profile from articles you posted, or
this or this?
Oh, no, that strip, yeah.
You're going to put those in.
Okay.
If you're posting articles, they may show up there, but you're going to go in and edit and link to YouTube videos or whatever, or link to your article. You have to tell it to put those there. They're not just going to show up automatically.
Okay, I think I forgot about that. Okay.
Yeah, so if you have an article, you're going to link it. It's going to ask you, where is it? You're going to put the link in there. So, but look at, he's on stage. He's doing what he's trying. He's doing what he's selling on his background photo. That's pretty good.
Talking about that icon and the thing, just remind me, you said go into LinkedIn and create a company page on LinkedIn with your icon?
Yeah, so it can't get a logo unless there's a K2 Development Systems page. So you can see I removed Daniel Spicani LLC from my front because I don't have a LinkedIn page. I'm not promoting that. But we do have a K2 Development Systems page. There it is. And so therefore it'll pull the little photo as the logo. Does that make sense?
So you have to go and create that if you don't have it for your company, for instance?
Correct. Yeah. So if you don't have an Oren Rudolph page, create it, put your logo in there, and then when you insert it as your experience or current position, it'll pull the logo from there, and it'll look proper.
In the event that, let's say, we don't have like a good enough picture and or a logo, any resources that you recommend to get a quick turnaround to get something?
Fiverr.
Okay.
Is it 2 R's or 2 V's?
2 R's.
So there's actually a link at the end of your homework about how to animate a logo. Fiverr is for tech stuff like that. It is super cheap. It's like $7. For instance, let's just go back there. They'll create a logo. They'll animate it for you. What I don't recommend Fiverr for is writing or anything that involves English or
when you say animated, what do you mean animated?
Well, I'll show you. The beginning of my video.
Yep.
That. How sexy is that?
Too sexy for my shirt.
See it again? Oh my, it's like the HBO premiere when I was like 12 when we first got cable TV. And then it ends. It should end with it.
Okay, that was too sexy. I need a room right now.
So yeah, that costs about maybe $12 to get the logo and the animation done, but it really screams. So any of my videos, you go into them, you know, even if you go to my YouTube channel, you're going to see that on anything I'm doing that's related to business, it's going to start. Whoops, I can't spell my name right. Oh, it came up anyway. So you're going to see that logo on even the newer stuff I'm doing. So there's one I did recently. This is a webinar you know, boom.
Sexy, baby.
It is, man. It makes me.
So how much did that logo cost you?
I want to say 12 bucks. I don't, it may be off by a few dollars, but it wasn't a lot. So any other questions? So we dropped a lot. I'm recording this, so I will tweak it. I will put a sexy logo at the front of it. And then I will send you guys a link to this recording so that you can pause it at different parts or watch what part you're interested in. But step one is about getting your profile to look right, getting your niche to identifying your niche, and then connecting with those people and looking like an expert in that niche. I am a big fan of sell it and then build it. So many people do it backwards. They build all this content, but then they never sell it. I'm okay with you building content, but if you don't know who you're trying to reach and how to reach them, you don't know how to sell it, there's no point in having great content because no one's going to see it. Any other questions before we sign off?
Dan, I have a question because I sort of want to look at multiple niches.
Yep.
So do I set this niche up now to do the auditing for small businesses now, and then when my book comes out, then I change the content?
I would. How long till your book comes out?
April.
Absolutely. You should be making money in this by then. And then you can just switch
Okay.
to the book.
Okay.
Here's the other thing. There's nothing wrong with, so if your book's related to what you're doing, you won't even have to redesign anything. You can almost just send it out as, so, if I'm all automotive and then I create a webinar on how to say no.
Uh-huh.
I can just leave everything the same and run a campaign with that. And because it's kind of connected to what I'm doing, it'll still make sense.
Okay.
Or you can redesign the whole thing. Once you know how to do everything, you're going to understand the science behind it, and you can switch gears as much as you want. We've done it 3 times with completely different niches, and every time it works. Where I'm at now is it's just so glaringly obvious that automotive is, I should be doing it. It's just, I can't deny it based on our own science. So when I do the searches, they're literally 500 times bigger than what I'm doing now. And I'm like, why am I not? And my son really, from teaching him the system and teaching him lead generation, he's 19. And he's like, Dad, you got to do automotive. Are you kidding me? Look at the money there. You're talking about, we could connect with hundreds of thousands of people who all have access to the budgets, who have the need, and then we can help people from there. We can branch out into other things, and I can still speak at schools and churches, but it's silly not to, for me not to go into the field that I know inside and out, I have access to, and has the need and the money, right? That's really the questions you want to answer.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Dan.
You guys good?
I just have one quick last question.
Yeah, and if you got to sign off, you can sign off, but I'll stay until everyone's questions are answered.
Obviously, the ideal, if I'm hearing you correctly, the ideal situation is that all of us do all these homework items, like get their logo and the profile and all that stuff right before the next call. But what if that isn't realistic for most of us.
Yeah, some people are going to take longer on step 1 than step 3. Just do it at your own pace. You're going to have all the homework stacks. You're going to have all the videos. I'm still going to support you guys, once you're done with all the steps. So do it as quickly as you can, but
Sure.
you're better off doing it right than not knowing your niche, being general, and then you want to be effective.
Of course.
So
Okay.
you do it at your own pace. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, I want to do it as fast as possible. That's a given. But of course, I want to do it right. So it's almost like, to a degree, it may almost be counterintuitive, because sometimes doing it
My
fast.
thing would be cut out the things that aren't required. So if you don't have a logo yet, don't put your webpage as a place of business on your LinkedIn profile.
Okay.
Don't put it, don't put anything. If you can't, if you went to a university that has a LinkedIn page, put that on there, it'll have that. But if you're saying, I work for, my company is, millennial coaching, but you don't have anything, I wouldn't put that link there because it looks amateurish.
Right.
And you don't want to charge amateur fees, so we can't have amateur content on our homepage.
Got it.
So I would just put, if there's something like that, just put nothing. Take a photo of you in front of a green screen, superimpose it in front of an audience of millennials or something. Do something, make it follow the program, but do what you got to do to make it look right until you have the right thing, or just eliminate it. Get your,
Okay. Gotcha.
okay.
Thank you, sir.
And then the whole aspect of, ministry, and then I want the coaching. I want to speak in churches. I want to speak but then I've also want to, there's the whole coaching aspect as well. How do you split your link? I mean, you've got one LinkedIn page, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm really wanting to, I've got my book, I've got a passion for forgiveness, as I said. Then there's this other side thing where it's like, I really would like to coach relationships, people who are battling through marriage, or, and I've got it's that whole.
Warren, you gotta create a spreadsheet and do the scoring system, because I totally get what you're doing. It's what I did. Which 1 through 10 do you have the most access to, or can get the most access to? Who has the most money? It's really about creating a score. And will you just commit for 90 days to one of those? Doesn't mean you're not going to take any ministry opportunities if you get them. It just means for 90 days we're going to run a campaign at that one specific target. I'm telling you, there's another trainer that you may or may not know that I started this program with a couple months ago, and he stalled on this part because he's just so afraid to miss an opportunity. If I narrow down, I'm going to miss you're missing. And my question is always the same. How much money did you make off LinkedIn last 3 months? 0? Cool.
7,000 zeros.
So, I'm just like, dude, if I get you one client in 90 days, that's 1,000,000% more than what you're doing now. Just niche down. So pick one of those, Oren. I don't really care which one it is, but I just want you to get narrow for long enough for you to get the system working and to make you money. Then if you want to switch it all and do all the work to connect to the next niche, that's up to you.
I think the other thing that I'm realizing is how many people are even looking at your profile. Not even getting business, are they even really looking at it right now? So does it make a difference?
I get the analytics all the time. I'm getting looked at like crazy. So yeah, we're going to create a lot of attention, but we only want attention from who's going to buy from us right now.
Right. That's what I mean.
Yeah. So Oren, you just got to kind of score it out and commit to one of them. If you don't commit to one of them, that divided focus is going to divide your results too, and I don't want to do that. So I don't really care which one it is. All the ones you mentioned are decent. You just have to pick one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fear, I guess. You know, it's the biggest battle that I'm facing is which one. I mean, yeah, and you know, I was in a conference and they said, you know, just put God in. You know, I've got to hear Him and choose one, but got to be led by Him and whatever.
I gotta tell you something. From working with this client that does insurance, I'm like, I think I'm gonna do insurance next year because he is like just. I cannot believe how many appointments he gets. And his connections still aren't as high as I want them. I'm like, dude, for that field, you should have 2,000 more connections. It still works. So you really want to think about who has the biggest need and who has the most money to spend, and start there. And then, you know what, in 6 months, you want to switch it.
Okay, Daniel, you keep like talking up that insurance guy. I have some high expectations. I just want you to know.
I literally.
No pressure.
No, I'm telling you, the need is there. I'm trying to see if I got more messages from him because we're at a stage with him where he is getting tons of appointments and he keeps, he's struggling to close them. And so literally my commitment to you all is if I have to get involved to the point where I do your sales conversations with you, I will.
But that he's not, is he, his appointments to work with other insurance agents or to sell clients insurance?
He's getting all kinds of appointments. That's what I mean. His offer is to coach brokers, but he's getting all this ancillary stuff. And so literally we're creating sub offers now. And I'm like, dude, so today I did a call with him and we'll probably close it this week. And it's going to be a lead generation for a new insurance agent. And he, you know, he's basically teaching her what he learned on the waiting list method. And so we quoted it at $3,000. And she might do a step down version. So I always offer two. It's $3,000 or $1,500. She's going to do one or the other. So he's like, this is an ancillary one. This isn't his center target. The
right
ones are taking a little longer to close because they're like $60,000 for him to come in and work with 30 agents or 40 agents. So they're taking a little longer to close, but his home run targets are big. But I'm like, dude, if you pick up a $1,500 coaching, you know, he's like, oh, that's a home run, dude. Like to him, that's a home run. So he's never made more than that to coach.
I think since you've been talking up this whole insurance, I think all of us should focus on the insurance industry and sell our services to insurance.
You know what?
God, no.
I would not argue with you because I'm like, I said it to my son today. I'm like, I think we got to sell insurance or something.
My insurance was knocking on doors for many years. I cannot sell another insurance policy. God help me.
Yeah, you know, it's all I'm saying is if just for the next 90 days you guys got a little bit narrow-minded, that would help you. You're going to get the ancillary stuff if you follow the pattern. Just get small at the beginning and you know, you'll get if your product is, you know, training, you'll end up getting keynotes off of it. You'll end up getting some coaching clients off of it. It's just going to happen. It's one of the reasons I took this over for Stephen K. is it got so wide, he didn't want to deal with it anymore because we're doing the Business Doctor TV show and he's doing all this other stuff. And so it became something that I had to take over. So, by the way, I'm going to be on that next week. So we're recording January 21st. You know somebody who would want to showcase their business on that? He still has spots open and he's selling them at cost, which is it's $500 to get on and get coached by him. Be on the TV show. You get all the videos sent to you. So you're basically getting a high-end production of you talking about your product and service for $500. You know, so it's I'm doing it for my automotive business, consulting business. It's just, to me, for $500 to get the video quality and all that, and for it to be on Hulu and Netflix and all that, and me be able to link it from my LinkedIn page, I'm like, that's a no-brainer.
Wait, it's gonna be on Hulu and Netflix?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Right now, he doesn't have any numbers because people are like, so normally he'd sell it for $5,000 a spot, but he doesn't have any analytics, like what's the reach. So he's just doing it at cost. He's got some experts on the show, and they're going to work with, so they're going to take me on as a client and coach me through my business. So there's benefits to that, but I'm just doing it for the video content. I'm like, I want to be able to link all that to my Facebook, to my home webpage, to my LinkedIn, as seen on this TV show. I mean, that's like, for $500, it's a no-brainer.
And wow, well, I definitely have an interest.
Once he has some analytics and numbers, it's going to be $5,000. I guarantee that. I don't know how long that'll take, whether it's 3 months or 6 months, but yeah, if you know anybody who would want to showcase on it, just.
But now I have a question. If one makes the investment, do they have to appear and do it right away? Like, in other words, I guess my only concern is I wouldn't want to be showcased on something like that unless all my ducks are truly in order, because then that's.
Well, I can tell you this: all my automotive ducks are not in order. By our call next week, I'll show you my LinkedIn page and how I changed it. But I'm still doing the show on Monday.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's recording one on Monday, but then there'll be other ones. So you don't have to do the one in January, but you can get in and he'll tell you when the next recordings are. And you don't have to fly out to San Diego either. They can do it remotely and all that. So yeah, if it's something that you want to do or you know somebody, just shoot me a message. I'll forward it to him and he'll get your spot. As far as I know right now, they're $500. But like I said, once he has numbers, he's definitely it's gonna be more than that. So, all right, no other questions? We ran pretty long for the first one, but I expected some of that. All right, you guys, I am gonna stop the recording and I will